Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon,
And I'm Mom.
and welcome back to Tansson Talks TV, where we pick a show and we watch an episode and speak to you all about it. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, so today we are doing the Brady Bunch. This is the first episode from 1969, The Honeymoon.
It sure is.
Yeah, and this is one that you chose.
Yep, I did select this one. I'm trying to introduce Brandon to some of the older shows.
Yeah, and I've seen bits and pieces of this episode. I think I've actually seen the full episode before, but just in pieces, and but not the whole thing together. So it definitely was fun going for this.
Yep, it was really fun, especially since I've kind of memorized some of the episode.
Yeah, and so before we go ahead and get started, I did want to go ahead and say feel free to go ahead and watch the shows alongside us and come back here for for our little review and discussion to help make this interactive. But I'm going to go ahead and allow for you to go ahead and give us the synopsis of this first episode from Paramount Television.
All right. Well, the Brady Bunch is one of our one of it's a TV show that, of course, everyone almost knows, or at least everyone who's just a little bit older. But it's really about two a man and a woman who come together, but they have three different children of each. Mike Brady was a widower, and was a widow, and then Carol was a supposedly divorcee, although they never quite said what happened to her husband. But this is the day that they are getting married. The And on this particular wedding day, all six children were together in the wedding party. And the episode is really about how much they really do love their children, but then also the fun that's kind of happened at the wedding itself, and how um, the dog and the cat actually kind of quote unquote ruined the wedding.
Yeah, this definitely was a bit of a humorous episode, and a great introduction into the dynamics of this family and sort of how they'll come about. We see a little bit of their separate lives just a bit in the beginning, and then all come together by the end.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I guess overall for me, because obviously you have seen it, and I think this is at least my first time in recent history, at least having seen this episode. I would say it certainly was very interesting to to see how it all unfolded and everything, and of course I was trying to pay close attention to the different relationships everyone has, including with the the housekeeper of the boys, Alice, as well.
Yes, and she did. And later in the series, she became a dominant figure within the show.
Yeah, but I would say her presence is definitely known here, like within this episode, and the bit of time that that she is within it, because you can see that she has control over the boys, even of the dad Mike Brady, and of course of the family pets.
Yeah, she sure does.
Yeah, and so for you, is the episode how you remembered it? Is there anything that sort of struck you as different than how you remember it?
All right, Brandon. Yes, the episode is really exactly how I remembered the episode to be. It is fun to look back and reflect upon that time period in which the episode was taped, and just to see the reactions of people when the six children were together at the end and joined them on a honeymoon. That was just kind of fun to watch the innkeeper, as he was just kind of shocked, as he said, the quote unquote modern family came together.
Yeah, and I guess that really does say something a bit about the time frame, because I'm sure the prevalence of of a blended family wasn't quite there in 1969, and so and I don't think the innkeeper fully understood that. Um, and so I mean the nice, I guess, hijinks of misunderstandings that is sort of a good staple of a situational comedy or sitcom. I mean, is definitely there, and it's overall such an interesting episode. But I would say something that I guess struck me a little bit was how quickly they went from being separate to you know to a family unit, so to speak, in the sense that we started off the episode with with both parties having like wedding day jitters, but then we all of a sudden go from that to the wedding, which even though we know that before the series even started, this had been weeks or months in the working. I don't know. It feels a little weird, like going to it at first, knowing that okay, well, we don't know. Should we do this? Should this not? And then we're all of a sudden at the wedding. Oh, now we're at the honeymoon. But um, but that's sitcom timelines for you.
It is, but I will say, and I know you have not seen the whole series, but it does kind of set up the series, and they do a really nice job of that. And the first few episodes in which it does air, they do talk a little bit about family coming together and the fact that they are a blended family. Once you get past really the first season, there you just automatically think of them as being true brothers and sisters.
Now, what would you say in terms of like the portrayal of them? I mean, we only see them all together for a little brief time. I guess at the a little bit before the wedding, at the wedding, and then towards the end of the episode at the end. But how would you say like for the children how their dynamic are together?
I think that you well, they actually, I will say it was consistent throughout the whole series. Kind of the how they're kind of how they're kind of shown in this particular episode is really how they're kind of shown throughout the series. So with, of course, Greg being the older brother who thinks he's in charge of things, that actually stays throughout. Cindy trying to be cute, that stays throughout the series. And even as they get older, and you could tell as they progress as they got older, they kind of maintain that, typical first child, second child, third child, and how they kind of relate to each other.
Well, that's definitely interesting to note. And I know, of course, you are a resident, theme song person. So, how would you rate the Brady Bunch theme song?
Well, let's see. Out of a 1 to 10, I actually rate this one a 10, and the reason I can give it a 10 is because I actually remember the words. Some theme songs are just catchy, but I don't quite know what all the words truly are. I just kind of hum along and sing. But with the Brady Bunch, it's so iconic that because I do know all the words in it, I would have to give it a 10. It's catchy, and if you start humming it, most people tend to know the Brady Bunch theme song.
Well, that's definitely interesting to know. And is there anything else that you would say is of note for the episode, or anything else you want to point out, or perhaps anything that you didn't care for in the episode?
There wasn't anything I didn't care for in the episode. Like I said before, I just thought it was a good way to begin it and to set the tone for the series. And as they progressed along through the series, like you said, it just laid the groundwork for to showing how it ended later. And not to give anything away, of course, but in the last episode, Greg graduates high school, and so you can see how we've gone from one child being a young teenager to someone who's a young adult. Um, so it's just really a nice progression.
Well, yeah, well, definitely, I think when it comes to shows, especially like name appeal and recognition, even for people who've never fully heard the show, I think at least the name always comes to mind, and it just has such a iconic premise to it that people of numerous different generations, younger and older, can be very familiar with the Brady Bunch, and so I'm glad we got to see this first episode.
Say I am too.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you, so much for doing this, and I know you have a message for our viewers out there.
Yeah, for anyone who's viewing, please just leave below in the comments section any shows that you'd like for us to speak about, and we'd be happy to take a look.
Yeah, we will sure do that. But like I said, it's always fun doing this with you, and I can't wait until next week.
All right. All right. Thank you, Brandon.
Of course, and thank you, and for all the viewers out there. Take care, everyone.
All right. Bye bye.